Oh, hello there. Yes. Well, yeah. Glad to see the back of Monday. That was damp. Now we've got to look at a damp Tuesday. It's going to make going to work miserable today. Anyway, yesterday, joy of joys, was the Conservative Party conference. Main day Monday with Tom Tugenduk and Kemi Badenoch doing their thing on the stage with this sort of Q&A thing. Yes. Now, the problem with that, of course, is that one is deeply reminded of lots of leadership stuff in the past. As I've said before Jeremy Corbyn came along and managed to squeeze on the ballot, oh, that was a mistake, etc. All the leadership contenders in that particular one basically were saying exactly the same thing. They were basically saying, we lost the election because we weren't any good for business. So we must listen to business. Listen to Andy Burnham, listen to business. All the rest of them, Yvette Cuba, must listen to business, listen to business, listen to business, listen to business. Wasn't really what anyone particularly wanted them to do, but it was felt generically within the party itself that was the thing to do. And I am reminded of this kind of thing with the hopefuls, the final four, as it is now, for the Tory leadership contest, because they managed at the same time as saying about how much they need to listen to people and listen to their party members and listen to the electorate, and it's vital that they come up with bold, dynamic new things. None of them are. I did actually have a look at both of Tom and Kemi's answers to the various questions, and they managed to say almost nothing at all, right? Okay, if we remind ourselves, I know it was a long time ago, but there was an election in July as to what people's actual concerns were. Well, let's look at this YouGov, right, which gives you a neat one. I know it's from May, but it didn't change much over the election. So what was the major thing? It was the cost of living, okay? So have any of our contemporary Tory hopefuls addressed that? No, not in the slightest. They will slag off what the Labour Party has recently done in terms of something or other about probably some taxes are going to be bad, particularly the VAT on schools, obviously appalling, but cost of living, not really mentioned. The fact that they oversaw the greatest decline in living standards that Britain's had for like 150 years doesn't get a look in at all. No, not really addressing that particular one, are they? Health? Well, yes, of course. Kemi Badenoch managed to mention it once. I don't think I've actually seen anything from any of the others, but Kemi Badenoch says we mustn't treat the NHS like a religion, which I don't think is going to get anyone a hip replacement anytime soon. There you go. Yeah, what else was there? The economy in general. Yes, they're talking the usual stuff about tax cuts. Yes, immigration and asylum. Well, natch. That's going to be the thing, isn't it? We'll come back to that with Robert Jenrick in just a bit. The environment and climate change. Nope. Housing. I've yet to see a mention of that. Crime. Little bit, but not very much. What else have we got? Defence and security. Again, we'll come back to that particular one. Britain's future relationship with the EU. Nope. Education. Well, they're against the VAT on private schools. That's the only thing I've heard. You can go a list of the others, like benefit payments. I mean, Kemi's great plan for tax cuts is to, we really need to cut down on benefit fraud. Okay. Again, you can see that it's nothing to do with the reasons they lost the election. And that's fine. They can drift off in their own particular way. Whoever does win this, it'll probably be Jenrick, but it might magically be Kemi if she can sneak into the final two, will basically be the Ian Duncan Smith of this century. Ain't going to go anywhere very fast. They will have reform nipping at their heels, because reform can basically say anything and promise anything, because they aren't anywhere near close to being the government. Meanwhile, magically, the Tories have to chase reform voters. No point. Reform voters aren't going anywhere. They're not going to go back to the Conservatives at all. I mean, Kemi did actually show some very minor thing where she talked about some green young voters that she's actually spoken to. I know, astounding, speaking to somebody. And apparently she said that they weren't as left-wing as she felt they were going to be. And I thought, no, because you have a stereotypical view of left-wingers as being like me, basically people that kind of prowl around late at night with knives wanting to kill anyone that's not as left-wing as them. actually that isn't me. But that's the stereotype, and that's really what she means. Young people are perfectly reasonable, and her suggestion for reaching out to these people is that she needs to speak the language of these people better. That's not the way that politics works, Kemi. It's not about releasing a TikTok. You remember Rishi Sunak tried that, yeah? Oh, look, it's completely different. Aren't I a hip young kid? Isn't going to work. Again, reminded of I think it was the 2017 election when Jeremy Corbyn pledged to get rid of tuition fees, which is something that young people might well be interested in. And the Conservatives countered with it by suggesting that they would give young people a slightly expanded rail card. Hard to see why that one didn't really grab the youth vote, methinks. No idea, these people. No idea whatsoever. And of course they're chasing their 80 to 90-year-old electorate. And good luck to them. Complete and utter meaningless irrelevance that nobody is going to be interested in, no matter who wins. And speaking of, number one on the list, of course, Robert Jenrick. You can just see the absolute madness involved in terms of the bold, dynamic view of the future. Over the weekend, he was basically sort of like speaking to conservative friends of Israel and suggesting that we needed Stars of David at the airports to make Jewish people, Israeli citizens, I think as he said, feel more welcome here. And you think to yourself, well, okay, it doesn't do anything to address anything, does it? And once again, what we're doing in this country is hitching our flag to various foreign powers who don't have our best interests at heart, like the US and Israel. And, basically going along with destabilising various places and then magically becoming wildly astounded about the fact that people arrive here on boats because we can't possibly put those two things together. Astounding. And yet here he is, yeah. If he becomes leader, we can expect an awful lot of rabidly more right-wing things to come out, because he will go for this kind of deep blue water between him and Reform. And Reform are basically as right-wing as it's possible to get in the UK without going down a particular Austrian party or particular German party's route. That's it. That's the limit of being a right-wing party before you tip over into something else. Anyway, we'll see. But it's astounding that, just to see the mundane notion that, we had James Cleverly, indeed yesterday, who suggested, his big plan for dealing with immigration is to restart the Rwanda plan. You can't make it up. You can't make it up. And just in the interests of balance, because so many people out there in comments seem to think I'm a staunch Labour supporter. No, they're useless as well. There you go. Okay, but this lot are facing a very long time in the wilderness, if not indeed complete obliteration at the next election. And they're not on any course to actually be able to do anything different. In terms of the 5 stages of grief, they are very much still in denial. Yeah? It's nothing to do with us. We were just kind of vaguely misunderstood. No, you were corrupt and incompetent. And until you can make those two things come slightly closer together, you're never going to be anywhere near power. Kemi is never going to be Prime Minister. Robert Jenrick is never going to be Prime Minister. Ain't going to happen. Anyway, do have a lovely day, whatever you decide to do.